This is a story that will make you question everything you think you know about your neighbors. It's a story about a man, a woman, a new beginning, and a secret hiding in plain sight. It's a story about how the simplest, most mundane detail can unravel the darkest, most terrifying truth. My name is Alex, and this is what happened. It was a cold, crisp autumn evening. The kind of evening where the air bites at your nose and the leaves crunch under your feet. My wife, Sarah, and I had just moved into our new home, a charming little house with a wraparound porch and a garden that had seen better days. We had a new house, new jobs, and we were looking forward to a new life, a fresh start. We were a young couple, happy, in love, and full of hope, or so it seemed. The first few weeks were a blur of unpacking boxes and painting walls. We were so caught up in our own world that we barely noticed the neighbors. We'd wave politely when we saw them, exchange a quick smile, but that was it. We were content in our little bubble, and we didn't feel the need to burst it. But one day, something trivial happened that changed everything. It was a Tuesday night, I think. Sarah was trying to connect to the Wi-Fi. Our internet provider hadn't been able to install our service yet, and we were desperate for a connection. "I can't believe it," she said, her voice a mix of frustration and amusement. "We've been without internet for 3 days. I'm going to have to steal the neighbor's Wi-Fi." I laughed. "Good luck with that. They probably have a 1,000,000-digit password." But she was determined. She opened her laptop and started scanning for available networks. A list of names popped up on the screen. "Aha!" she exclaimed. "Here's one. Smith family and the—" I chuckled. Of course, the classic. The Joneses _5G. Wi-Fi. Smith family. But then she stopped. Her eyes widened. "Alex," she said, her voice suddenly serious. "You have to see this." I walked over to the laptop. She pointed at the screen. Below Smith family _2G was another network. This name was disturbing. "Wait," I said. "Is that what I think it is?" The Wi-Fi name was something that would make anyone's blood run cold. It was something so macabre, so out of place, that it could only be a joke. But it didn't feel like a joke. The name was Killed _Sir. My mind raced. Was this a prank? A sick joke? A reference to a movie? Sarah and I looked at each other, a mix of confusion and fear in our eyes. "It's probably a joke," I said, trying to convince myself more than her. Someone with a morbid sense of humor. But a shiver ran down my spine. The name felt too specific, too personal. "Who's our neighbor?" I asked, suddenly needing to know. "I don't know," Sarah said. "I think their name is Smith. I saw their mail. An older couple, I think. Mr. and Mrs. Smith. An older couple?" The thought of a sweet, unassuming older couple with a Wi-Fi name like that was chilling. It just didn't make sense. But what did we do? Do we ignore it? Do we confront them? Do we call the police? What would we even say? "Hi, your Wi-Fi name says you killed someone?" We decided to do nothing. We tried to forget about it, to brush it off as a strange, isolated incident. We were new here, we didn't want to cause trouble. But the image of that Wi-Fi name was seared into my brain. I couldn't get it out of my head. Every time I looked at our neighbor's house, I couldn't help but wonder, who did he kill? Was it a joke? Or was it real? The next day, I found myself watching the neighbor's house. A white-haired man, probably in his late 60s, was mowing his lawn. He had a kind face, a gentle smile. He waved at me and I waved back. He seemed so normal. Too normal. That night, I saw the Wi-Fi name again. Still there. Killed _Sir. The more I looked at it, the more I became obsessed. I started looking at the news, searching for cold cases in our area. I was looking for a murder, a disappearance, anything that could be a match. I found nothing. The obsession grew. Couldn't sleep. I couldn't focus at work. Sarah was worried about me. "Alex," she said, "you're getting paranoid. There's a Wi-Fi name. It's nothing." "But what if it's not?" I countered. "What if it's a confession? A sick joke to taunt someone?" We fought about it. She thought I was overreacting, that I was letting my imagination get the best of me. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. I felt a knot in my stomach every time I saw our neighbor, Mr. Smith. His kind smile now seemed sinister, his gentle wave a taunt. The Wi-Fi name was a silent scream, a ghost in the machine. It was a message, and I felt like I was the only one who could hear it. I had to know the truth. I had to know what happened at 3 a.m. And I knew deep down that the answer was not going to be a joke. It was going to be a nightmare. I had to find out, even if it meant risking everything. The Wi-Fi name wasn't a joke. I knew it in my gut, a chilling certainty that seeped into my bones and refused to let go. I became a detective in my own home, a man obsessed with a secret that wasn't even his. I would watch Mr. Smith from our window, noting his routines, his habits. He was a creature of habit. He'd get his newspaper at 7 a.m., walk his small terrier, Daisy, at 8 a.m., and work in his garden in the afternoon. His wife, Mrs. Smith, was rarely seen. She seemed to be a ghost in her own home, a woman who only appeared to grab the mail or water a few plants. My obsession was pushing Sarah away. She was tired of me talking about the Wi-Fi name, tired of me watching our neighbors like a hawk. "Alex, you're scaring me," she said one evening. "This isn't you." "I can't just ignore it, Sarah," I pleaded. "What if he's a killer? What if he's a monster? What if he's just an old man with a weird sense of humor?" She shot back. "We don't know anything about them. We're judging them based on a stupid Wi-Fi name." She was right, but I couldn't let it go. The knot in my stomach was a constant companion. It was on a cold Wednesday night when a new clue emerged. The Wi-Fi name was gone. I scanned for networks on my phone, and it wasn't there. I felt a wave of relief wash over me, a sigh of relief that lasted only a moment. It was replaced by a new name, one that made my blood run cold. The new name was the _body _. My hands trembled as I showed Sarah my phone. She looked at the screen, her eyes wide with fear. "Alex," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "What does that mean?" We both knew what it meant. It meant it wasn't a joke. It meant something happened, and we were witnesses to a confession in real time. The initial name, killed _her_, was a taunt, a sick joke, but the _body_, was a statement, a chilling follow-up. I called the police, but what did I say? "Hello? My neighbor's Wi-Fi name keeps changing to things like killed _3M and I think he's a killer." They'd laugh at me. They'd think I was crazy. I decided to take matters into my own hands. The next day, I found a pretext to go to his house. I knocked on his door, my heart pounding in my chest. He opened the door, a kind smile on his face. "Hello, son," he said. "Can I help you?" "Hi, Mr. Smith," I said, trying to keep my voice from shaking. "I'm your neighbor, Alex. I was wondering if you could help me with something. I'm trying to set up my Wi-Fi, and I'm having some trouble." He let me in, and I walked into a house that seemed frozen in time. The furniture was old, the decor was from another era. There was a faint smell of dust and something else, something I couldn't quite place. I saw a picture on the mantel of Mr. Smith and a woman who I assumed was his wife, Mrs. Smith. She was beautiful, with a warm smile and kind eyes. But something was wrong. In the picture, she looked young, vibrant. The woman I had seen in the yard was frail, older, and always seemed to be in a daze. Was she okay? "What seems to be the problem?" he asked. "Oh, the name of your Wi-Fi network," I said, my voice shaky. "I'm trying to figure out how to name mine. I saw you had a couple of networks and was wondering if you knew how to change them." He laughed, a gentle, harmless sound. "Oh, that," he said. "My granddaughter set it up for me. She's a bit of a prankster. She likes to come up with strange names to annoy her friends. I don't know how to change it. What's it named now?" I froze. I couldn't say the _body_. "Oh," I stammered. I just saw it was a new name." He looked at me for a moment, his smile fading slightly. "Well, I'm sorry, son," he said. "I can't help you with that. But if you have any other questions, you just let me know." I left his house, my heart racing. He was either the most convincing liar I had ever met, or he was telling the truth. But if he was telling the truth, who was the woman in the picture? And who was the woman I had seen in his yard? And what did the _body_is_gone mean? The more I tried to get answers, the more confused I became. I was trapped in a web of lies and half-truths, a pawn in a game I didn't understand. I felt the walls closing in, the reality of the situation becoming too much to bear. I was at a dead end. I had a killer confession on my Wi-Fi list, but I had no proof. The Wi-Fi name changed again a few nights later, and this time, the name was This wasn't a confession. It was a threat. The new Wi-Fi name, was a chilling twist that changed everything. It wasn't just a confession anymore. It was a statement of power, a declaration that the secret was alive and well, hidden in plain sight. My mind raced, trying to make sense of the new message. Was she the woman from the picture? Or was it the frail, ghost-like figure I'd seen in the yard? The more I thought about it, the more I realized that the woman I'd seen was not Mrs. Smith. The woman in the picture was young, vibrant, full of life. The woman I saw was old, frail, and seemed to be a prisoner in her own home. I had to find out the truth. My obsession had reached a fever pitch. I had to confront Mr. Smith, but I knew I couldn't do it alone. I needed Sarah's help. I sat her down and showed her the new Wi-Fi name. Her eyes widened, and a look of pure terror crossed her face. "Alex," she said, her voice trembling, "this is not a joke. We have to do something." We decided to go to the police together, but we knew we needed more. We needed a plan. We needed proof. The next day, I found a way to get into Mr. Smith's house. I told him our cat had run into his yard and that I needed to find it. He was reluctant at first, but I was insistent. "Please, Mr. Smith," I said. "He's very special to us." He finally relented, and I walked into the house, my heart pounding in my chest. He followed me, his eyes on me, watching my every move. I pretended to look for the cat, but my eyes were scanning the room, looking for anything, any clue, that could confirm my suspicions. I saw a door, slightly ajar, leading to a basement. I knew I had to get down there. "I think I heard him in the basement," I said, my voice shaky. "No, son," he said, his voice suddenly hard. "The basement is off limits. I have some things down there that I don't want anyone to see." "Oh, okay," I said. "I'll just check the other rooms then." He was blocking the door, his body tense, his eyes narrowed. I knew he was hiding something. I had to get a look inside. I faked a trip, and as I fell, my hand reached out and pushed the door open. I saw it, a fleeting glimpse, but it was enough. The room was a mess, filled with old furniture and boxes. But in the center of the room, there was a large, covered object. It looked like a body. I scrambled to my feet, my heart pounding in my chest. "I'm sorry, Mr. Smith," I said, my voice a whisper. "I have to go. I think I found him." I ran out of the house, my mind racing. I had a bad feeling. The covered object, it looked like a body. I had to tell Sarah. I called her, my voice frantic. "Sarah," I said, "I think I saw it. I think he's a killer. We have to call the police." We went to the police station and told them everything. They were skeptical at first, but my story was so detailed, so strange, that they had to take it seriously. They went to Mr. Smith's house, but when they came back, they had nothing. "We searched the house, Mr. Alex," the officer said. "We found nothing. No body, no evidence." He said the covered object was an old painting. My heart sank. He had moved it. He had known I was coming. He was smarter than I thought. I was back at square one, and now I had no proof, and I had a killer who knew I was onto him. The next day, the Wi-Fi name changed again. This time, it was Alex_next. I was no longer a witness. I was a target. The Wi-Fi name, Alex_next, was the final nail in the coffin of my sanity. My world had unraveled, and I was now standing at the edge of a precipice, a target on my back. Couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. I was a wreck, A man haunted by a ghost who wasn't even dead yet. I went to the police again, but they told me they couldn't do anything. It's a Wi-Fi name, Mr. Alex, the officer said. It's not a direct threat. We can't arrest him for that. I was on my own. I had to find a way to expose him, to bring him to justice, before it was too late. I decided to use his own game against him. The next day, I started a new Wi-Fi network. The name, the_truth revealed. I was hoping he would see it, that he would respond, that he would make a mistake. I was playing a dangerous game, a game of cat and mouse, and I was the mouse. The next day, I saw a police car pull up to the Smith's house. My heart pounded in my chest. Had he finally been caught? The police went to his door and he answered. He was smiling, a calm, serene smile. They talked for a few minutes, and then the police left. My heart sank. What had happened? I saw Mr. Smith walk over to the small, white police car. He had a small bag in his hand. He was talking to the police officer, and I could see the officer nod. They shook hands, and then Mr. Smith got into the car, and they drove away. I was confused. Was this a good thing? Was this a bad thing? What was happening? I ran to my phone and looked at the Wi-Fi networks. The name was gone. All of them were gone. Killed under 3am. Alex. They were all gone. I felt a wave of relief wash over me. A sigh of relief that lasted only a moment. It was replaced by a new, more terrifying thought. What did it all mean? Who was the she? Was it a real person? Or was it something else? I was left with more questions than answers. The mystery remained. A silent scream that still echoed in my mind. The old man, the kind smile, the sinister Wi-Fi names. It was all a twisted puzzle, and I was missing the final piece. Weeks went by. I never saw Mr. Smith again. I never saw Mrs. Smith again. The house was empty. The mystery was a constant companion. A ghost that haunted my dreams. I would never know the truth. I would never know what happened at 3 a.m. I would never know what he had hidden in his basement. And then one day I got a letter. It was from the police. They had arrested Mr. Smith. He was not a killer. He was not a monster. He was a man with a secret. A man who had lost his wife. A man who was struggling with grief. His wife, Mrs. Smith, had died of a long illness. She had passed away peacefully in her sleep at 3 a.m. The Wi-Fi names? They were a form of therapy. A way for him to cope with his grief. A way for him to remember her, to keep her memory alive. Killed under 3 a.m. was his way of saying that grief had killed her. The _body_ gone was his way of saying that her physical presence was gone, but her spirit was not. She _still here was his way of saying that she was still in his heart. And Alex _next. That was a mistake. He had meant to name it Alex friend. But he had run out of characters. He had thought I was a kind person, a good neighbor, and he wanted to be friends. The police had found the body in his basement. It was a life-size doll of his wife, a memory of the woman he had loved and lost. He had created the doll, a replica of his wife, to help him cope with his grief. I was a fool. I had jumped to conclusions. I had created a monster out of a man who was simply a widower, a man who was trying to deal with a tragedy. I never saw him again, but I learned a valuable lesson, that we never truly know what's going on behind closed doors, that we should never judge a book by its cover, that the most frightening things are not always what they seem, and that, my friends, is the story of the neighbor's Wi-Fi name that revealed his darkest secret. If you like the story and want to hear more like it, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. I'll see you in the next one.